Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in down south and also in Latin America, across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys in Africa. Thanks for following the Big C tribe in Africa. Also, we love you up in Canada, but Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for all you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, it was almost like the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus on Turkey Necks down here. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had a turkey out there in California, because you guys don't believe in going out in the bushes. You believe in going in the grocery store and the meat aisle. But, you know, a fresh bird who was just out there plucking and clucking, and all of a sudden he's sizzling in the heavens.
Oh, man.
It's going to be a great day tomorrow down here in the south.
Well, I tell you, there's a lot of turkeys. One of the strangest things I've seen a lot of turkeys walking around, and they don't have a neck. Are you saying you good old boys take the neck off and put the head back on and eat it? Is that what you said, Big C?
Well, I'm saying, you know, he went wandering around. He was flapping and stuff. He lost his head somehow, you know, Charlton.
Yeah, that's funny. Today is a beautiful November the 22nd, 2017, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And actually, we're right here up on Thanksgiving Eve in the land of the free, home of the brave. And we do want to give a special shout out to all the live game that volunteers, Big C, to be on the dinner table. And also in the ovens and in the deep fryer. A lot of game have decided that they want to contribute to what's called the gluttony of the land of the free and the home of the brave. Why don't we change it from Thanksgiving to Gluttony Day, Big C? Your thoughts?
We appreciate the giving that they're giving. You know, we're giving thanks for that. You know, but for us as Americans and around the world, to be able to go out and gorge ourselves on this particular day. We've been overload of El Citizan and everybody falling asleep after that second plate. Yeah. And wondering why we missed half the football game.
Oh, now you just made a lot of things clear, Big C. I know a lot of professional athletes eat a lot of meat, but they say turkey's healthier. I hear there's been a lot of turkey shipped down to Florida when they used to get large deliveries in Chicago. I think Cutler's been known to buy a lot of their turkeys with extra tryptophan. Is that why you look so sleepy, Big C? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he was almost turkey diet.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he'd wake up and go to sleep looking the same way. And matter of fact, during the football game, I think I saw him nod a couple times in a row because his head went down.
Yeah. So I've learned two things this week listening to you, Big C. I've learned that when baseball players grab their crotch like Baker Mayfield did in the Oklahoma-Kansas game, I thought they were just signals, like they grabbed the ear, they grabbed the under the arm, the elbow, they rubbed their hat. I thought it was signs to the pitcher. I didn't know that grabbing the crotch was not a sign for baseball, so no wonder I lost a lot of my money on the Dodgers and Astros series, Big C. I do want to ask you about, the world of sports, and we talked about it yesterday with the Raiders. We'll start off with that out here on the West Coast. And Ken Norton Jr., the Raiders don't have an interception all year, and they let Ken Norton Jr. go, but there'll be a lot of other heads to roll if you understand how Davis gets it down. But just give me your thoughts on replacing him at this juncture of the season. He's the same defensive coordinator that helped the Seattle Seahawks get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. He's the same guy that helped them win enough last year to get the first playoff, Big C, in 13 seasons, and I think they were 12-4 last year. So they score 8 points, and the defensive guy loses a job. Can you explain that one more time, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's almost like Tyrod Taylor losing his job in Buffalo when you got the team with a winning record. But here it is, you replace Ken Norton because you don't have an interception. But he wasn't the guy going out drafting those two rookie defensive backs.
No.
They brought in the first and second round, saying that they were the future of the team, but you had to play them now. Yeah. You had a pretty solid defense last year that only, had 4 losses. And that wasn't satisfactory. You didn't want to stay pat with that because you felt that you could improve your team by putting people out there who had never played pro ball. Yep. And, as a defensive coordinator, you're told what to do by a head coach and a general manager and owner. Yeah. You don't go out and spend first and second round draft picks on your secondary unless you feel you're improving your secondary.
Yeah.
And one of the kids came in with a problem already, Charlton, an off-season of off-field problem.
Yeah.
So his line wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so now you're looking at this scenario where you're blaming a defensive coordinator, and yes, he's part of the problem, he's part of the solution.
Yep.
But you can't force players to play.
No.
Ken Norton is getting fired. What have the Raiders won? 4 games this year?
Yeah, 4 games.
I think there's a couple of head coaches in the NFL that haven't even won 4 games.
No.
Okay?
No.
And their entire staff is still intact.
Yep.
So when I look at this manipulation of coaching and moves in the NFL, it always seems to be a minority guy who's a fall guy.
Yeah.
When you look at it, and I'm not being facetious about this.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at the optics. As they say in college football, in this bowl thing, the eye test.
Yeah.
And I wear glasses.
Yeah.
I see twice as much.
Yeah, and so even with that, Norton's going to land on his feet. He's had a couple of Super Bowls with the 49ers, so you think he knows a little bit about defense. Also, a couple of Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. Also, when he played at UCLA, they were a Rose Bowl team. His father, Ken Norton, was a heavyweight boxer, so he's a competitive guy. But I do feel that he's getting the short end of the stick, especially he's not the one that was given $125 million to make sure you can at least score at least more than 1 touchdown in the game. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you never look at your high-priced quarterback, Charlton. When you look around the NFL, and you see a lot of these inept offenses that are occurring throughout the league.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'll keep going back to Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor had to take a pay cut last year to keep his job.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And he had the Buffalo Bills as a 500 team. Now, you go around the league and look at how many quarterbacks that made $100 million and weren't a 500 team. Okay?
Wow.
There were a couple of them, John.
Yeah.
Okay, but Tyrod Taylor had a $35 million contract he had to take a pay cut on. And you got, here it is, who was a kid watching your cousin?
Yeah.
Okay. he was 7-9 last year, Jonathan.
Yeah.
7-9.
Yeah.
All right? And he didn't take a pay cut. He got a pay raise.
Got a pay raise.
$25 million.
Yeah.
And so, do you value the guy that makes your team better? And think about it. Tyrod Taylor had a winning record when he was benched.
Yeah.
At 5-4. Your cousin hasn't had a winning record in 3 years. And he's still making money and playing.
Yeah.
But, when you look at Ken Norton's dismissal from the Raiders defensive, coordinator position, you're blaming him because your offense can't score points.
Yeah, and when that's a good point, Big C. And I want to bring this up, too, because it's about results at this level, so they say. But I look at Jack Del Rio, and I look at Jack Del Rio being 0-6 in his career versus New England. Now, if a guy is 0-6 and Las Vegas knew he was 0-5 going into the game, he's 0-6 in his career versus New England. And I think that when you fire a coach, a coordinator, why get rid of the guy when you're coming off of the toughest team to beat, the defending Super Bowl champions, and they're trying to find a scapegoat. But I think it's one more thing that's going on against the Oakland Raiders in their relationship to the Bay Area. Here's a guy that's done a lot of good with the 49ers when he was on their staff, with Harbaugh. And he's also done some things when he was on the staff with Pete Carroll up in Seattle. And so a lot of those coaches that went on, I think it was Dan Quinn that got the head coaching job down in Atlanta. He was also under the tutelage of Pete Carroll. But then it looks like with Norton, a guy that was almost at the point of winning the division last year, is let go the next season, and they haven't even gotten into the final 6 games of the season. I just think there's a very short candle when it comes to African-American athletes and also coaches. And I want to ask you a dumb question, Big C. Is that something that the Rooney Rule will look at when it comes to assistant coaches being let go when they just came off of a winning season, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, if you think about the Raiders' dismal showing in the playoffs last year, who was the head coach?
I think his name is Jack. Is it Jack Del Rio? That guy, the Rio Grande guy. Is that who it is?
Okay, and who did he think is his backup quarterback? Connor Cook,
yeah,
a rookie, and Matt McGloin.
Yeah,
these are his 2 backup quarterbacks. But neither one of them were with the franchise this year, Charlton.
No,
that's how bad they were. And then when they got into the playoffs with Connor Cook, I don't even know if they scored a touchdown last year.
Yeah, I mean, they were
just beat down.
Yeah,
it looked like a Jay-Z team out there playing.
Yeah,
the head coach coach didn't lose his job.
No.
The coordinator didn't lose his job.
No.
The defensive coordinator has lost his job.
Yeah.
And so when you look at how the progression goes, is that you can't score, but you can't stop anybody from scoring either because they're on the field more than what you are offensively.
Yeah.
Your offense has to give you defensive help.
Yeah.
It's just like with the Dallas Cowboys last week.
Yeah.
When they went down to Atlanta, and Tyron Smith wasn't playing because Donald Trump had him sit down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Zeke wasn't in.
Yep.
So, Zach didn't have anybody to block on his backside.
Nope.
All right?
No.
So do you fire Jason Garrett because Tyron Smith was unhealthy enough to play?
Wow.
You got to look at these things, Justin. The Dallas Cowboys, here's the team that has not, won a game in the last two outings and have lost both of them by more than 20 points.
Yeah,
that.
5 and 6.
Who do you fire in Dallas?
Yeah.
When you start looking at these scenarios.
Well, they're 5 and 6. I do want to say this segment sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Big C sent you. And so you brought up the Dallas Cowboys, and I know they play on Turkey Day also. Are they also getting those turkeys that don't have a neck, Big C, that you guys exported out of the South? Are those test tube turkeys, Big C? I've never seen a turkey that did not have a neck until you told me about them, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, I think Jerry Jones might be doing a little typing right now, when they start talking about turkeys. That's the way he's being looked at in the NFL. They're playing on Thursday.
Yeah.
I remember growing up and even playing, Charlton, that Thursday was a significant thing in professional football.
Yeah.
Because you had two teams that played, and everybody looked forward to watching those two teams play and knowing they didn't have to play that day.
Yeah.
But, the majority of the league would be able to sit at home, spend time with their families.
And eat.
And the Dallas Cowboys was always a traditional Turkey Day game.
Yeah.
And it was started out in Detroit because nobody wanted to play but the Lions on Turkey Day.
Yep.
But the Cowboys and the Redskins played some of the most memorable games in NFL history on Turkey Day, Charles.
Yeah.
For a decade. You think about the 70s.
Yep.
They owned that day. Those two teams, you look forward to it. Pat Summerall, Tom Brookshire, doing the broadcasting for CBS Sports.
Yep.
You can stretch your clock to it, Charles.
That's a good point.
Here's the Dallas Cowboys going into Turkey Day with no steam behind it.
No, they don't have it.
This is a team in total disarray. And, what would Jerry Jones come out with as an excuse? I know the media right now is beating up on Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Maybe Dak Prescott is not who or what we thought he was.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep. That's the angle they're taking. Yep.
So think about this. When Aaron Rodgers struggled last year at the beginning of the season, Charles.
Yeah.
Did the media ever come out and say, well, maybe Aaron Rodgers is not who we thought he was?
Nope.
Okay. We never heard that. But Dak Prescott, just like Aaron Rodgers, loses a running back.
Yep.
Loses a left offensive tackle, and he struggles. He doesn't have a big play receiver. Think about it. Dez Bryant scares nobody in the NFL, Charles.
No, he doesn't have separation.
Jason Witten gets caught by every linebacker in the game, okay?
Yeah.
Cole Beasley's just a possession receiver.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get the ball to Matthews and thinking that he's going to beat anybody in the game.
Yeah.
So what does Dez Bryant have to work with? You got to look at him. It's almost like when Colin Kaepernick was the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
After they got rid of Randy Moss, who did they have as wide receiver? Anquan Boldin was a possession receiver.
Yeah.
That was it. Delaney Walker was gone.
Yeah.
Davis lost 3 steps. So, when you got a quarterback and you give him no tools to work with, no protection, you got running backs that can't hit the hole like Ezekiel Elliott, but everything comes back to the running back. I don't hear them blaming any other quarterback. Well, no one's blaming Joe Flacco. No one's saying, well, maybe he's not who we thought we were.
Right.
And especially your old neighbor, Jay Cutler.
That's tryptophan. It's not his fault. He didn't know what tryptophan came in the turkeys, Big C. So let me ask you this question. I look at the Cowboys, and we've heard this the last 3 years, the best offensive line in the NFL. And we know that they had left tackle Tyron Smith with a groin injury. And I tell you, there's other issues going on in that organization because the owner, as opposed to putting his energy into getting the team what they need as far as healthy players, he's trying to go to court and have a lawsuit. You can't win the Super Bowl when you're in court. Is that true, Big C, or am I misunderstanding what I'm talking about?
Well, Charles, I think that every player's been suspended. And sit back and say, well, I can't reach my charges because I'm not playing.
Yeah.
And So this is the same thing with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones right now is teetering on thin ice with the rest of the NFL owners.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is that you're messing with everyone's overall money.
Yeah.
When you're messing with Roger Goodell. We understand the power of the Dallas Cowboys for merchandising in the NFL, the exorbitant stadium that they play in, Charlton.
Yeah.
But the Dallas Cowboys were the Dallas Cowboys before Jerry Jones came in.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They'll be the Dallas Cowboys when Jerry Jones is gone, just like the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
They were Al Davis, Oakland Raiders. Since he's been gone, they're still the Oakland Raiders, Charlton.
Yeah.
Every team in the NFL is who they were. When you think about the Chiefs, one of the original AFC franchise, you think about the Titans who were once the Oilers. You think about the Ravens who were once the Browns. They are who they were, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's been no owner bigger than the league in the league history. You think about the 49ers. They operated under the policy family.
Yeah.
Okay? They were who they were. But the league goes on, Charlton. And in Jerry Jones, in his power struggle, to still want to be the marquee person saying that I am the NFL.
Yep.
Yes, you've done a lot for this league, but you've also been damaging to your team for the last 15 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That the Dallas Cowboys have built in his early years, it took the next 15 years to destroy it. Even last year, he could not withstand the success of a minority quarterback.
Yeah.
He honestly couldn't.
Yeah.
He loaned every week. He couldn't help but have a press conference. Well, we're looking at Tony Romo. He should be ready.
Yeah.
Every week, he's jabbing at Dak Prescott. With Tony Romo, we want to get him in.
Yeah.
And when he finally got Tony Romo in the game, Charlton, what happened? They lost.
They lost the chemistry.
They lost the chemistry.
Yeah.
They lost their momentum. And that's what he's doing now. He's blaming the league for his ill-fated moves last year, Charlton, because they come back to haunt him this year.
Yeah.
When you look at it, here it is. He had a team, if he had just let Zeke Elliott serve the suspension, instead of fighting this tooth and nail. The first 6 games of the season, you would have hoped to have been 500, come back to catch his stride. Now you're 500 when he gets suspended.
Yep.
Now you're going to lose 5 games while he's gone.
Well,
and your playoff hopes are going to be dashed.
Yeah, and you think about on the other side of what they're facing for this Turkey Day game, you have Phillip Rivers, who has 186 consecutive regular season starts in the NFL. You're talking Tom Brady territory. Even though Phillip hasn't done a lot to get the Chargers to the next level, they're still a team that they can beat anyone, especially now they blew out the Buffalo Bills 54-24, and they're playing in a stadium that holds about 15 turkeys, Big Z. I'm sorry, about 27,000. You can put about 15 turkeys in that stadium down there in Carson, California. But here's a guy that's hot now. He was coming off of some concussion protocol, but he played great. 186 consecutive starts, and he has to know he's finding his mojo now because they're facing a Dallas team that's reeling right now. And the Chargers really have nothing to lose. No one expected them to win the AFC West, but the Raiders are struggling. They're firing coaches halfway through the season. You look at the Chiefs, they've been on a losing streak. And then you look at Denver, they're either high or what are they doing, tryptophan or something else that they grow up in the high mountains, Big C. So they play relaxed too. So we may laugh at it, but this LA Chargers thing is not too far-fetched to see if they keep on this streak, Big C. They're already 4-6. They might find themselves somehow getting into the playoffs with a wild card, or even if we say they win the division, because I think Rivers right now is the hottest quarterback in that division. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, like I said, we saw Dallas in Atlanta 2 weeks ago. Claiborne, what did he have, 6 sacks?
Yeah.
You know, and the pressure on Dak Prescott, the last 2 games, Charlton, has just been relenting.
No blocking. No blocking.
No blocking. He's running for his life. He hasn't sat in the pocket and delivered a pass in the last 2 games. What do the Chargers have? 2 young, excellent defensive ends.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're going to be bringing the heat from the corner.
Yep.
We saw that last week against Buffalo.
Yep.
Okay? They hit this kid every time he thought about taking a snap.
They're still hitting him.
And so Dak Prescott is going to be under that same continuous pressure.
Yeah.
Dallas doesn't have the system right now to leave the back in the backfield to help the chip.
No,
okay?
no.
Because they need all the help downfield because they have no one that can put pressure on the safeties in anyone's defense.
Yeah.
So look for Jerry Bosa to have a big day, Charlton, against the Cowboys. This is a team, like I said, they scored 54 points last week.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys have lost by 20 points or more in 2 consecutive games.
Yeah.
Minnesota, here's the right for the ticket. Emotionally, they're down.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have it. You got an owner that's bickering. And if he's bickering with the commissioner, imagine what he's saying to the team and the players. And Jason Garrett's got to be nervous as hell right now.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and that's a very good point that you bring up, because Garrett's been, they had Garrett. He's been on the firing block for many times, and because they had a good quarterback in Prescott, good running game in Elliott. And that same offensive line, for the most part, is about the same. It's almost like chemistry. You ever have a chemistry with something, whether it's a coworker or somebody that you're in a relationship with, but you keep looking over your shoulders thinking you're going to find the grass greener on the other side of the fence. And I think after so much of that, it starts to wear on your confidence. And they did it last year by trying to say, we want Tony Romo back. Well, they had Tony Romo for 12 years and never won more than a playoff game, I believe. And then this year, that same issue has been given to Roger Goodell, as opposed to asking Garrett, what do we need to help our team win? They're spending more time in the courthouse. I think that's not good for the Dallas Cowboys. I do want to take you to another team. And we talked about the Purple People Eaters, because I believe the Vikings right now, they look like they are going to win. It's going to be them or Detroit that wins the Central. And I'm telling you, they have this issue going on with quarterback. Bridgewater, I don't care if he comes back and how great he could be, let him sit for a while, because they have a quarterback that's rolling right now, Bixie. I don't think you roll somebody and take them off when they have the hot dice, Bixie. Your thoughts?
Well, Teddy Bridgewater hasn't played in 2 years, basically.
Yeah.
This is a young man that came off a catastrophic knee injury.
Yep.
There's no rush to put him in the lineup. And when you look at the team that has momentum, so this is the same scenario that Dallas was
last year. Yeah.
With Dak Prescott. Mike Zimmer, he has to show some intelligence and integrity as a head coach. All he has to do is look at the newsreels, watch some highlight shows, and see how the Dallas Cowboys screwed up this season last year. And say, do I want to do the same thing?
Yeah.
I got a quarterback that's won 5 consecutive games. He's in the top 5 QBR ratings in the NFL right now.
Yep.
He is doing everything we need to have done as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I got a defense that's playing outstanding.
Yeah.
Why do I want to break up the mojo that's going on right now? I mean, the Pixley dust, you can leave that in the drawer in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, you can leave that there.
This is as close as they're going to get. Just Randall Cunningham was playing quarterback for them, Charlton, some time ago when he had Randy Moss.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris Carter and Smith at running back.
Yeah.
This team mirrors that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
They're not leading this league in scoring, but they're doing a dang good job on both sides of the football as far as team chemistry. So I like what Case Keenum is doing. He's been around, Charlton. He's earned his time in playing quarterback.
Yeah.
He may only be there this year in Minnesota, but he has earned his time, because you got to figure out somebody's got to go. You got Sam Bradford making almost as much money as you. All right?
I understand.
He's the lowest paid guy of all the quarterbacks they have. Teddy Bridgewater is in the option year of his rookie contract.
Yeah.
So somebody has to move on. I think it'd be Teddy Bridgewater who goes, because Sam Bradford, all it costs you to keep him in shape is a box of Band-Aids.
And some Robitussin. Oh, hold on. I just learned another thing. You give guys super glue when they're sick? Is that so their mouths can't keep complaining? Is that what the super glue is for, Big C? I thought it was Robitussin in California. But one more thing on Case Keenum. They went into the Rams game. They had scored 30 points 3 times, okay? And then they get a 24-point win over the Rams, really a blowout win over the Rams, because the Rams were averaging over 30 points a game themselves. So there's something about the defense, there's something about the offense. The Vikings have more chemistry than anyone in their division. I think the only team that can really challenge them, there might be 3 that I look at. That's New Orleans in the NFC, also Carolina in the NFC, and then you look at the Eagles. I think Seattle right now, they're still trying to find themselves, but I like what the Vikings are doing right now, and to me, I wouldn't change that quarterback position if I were them. Big C, I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, your high school teams, even your mom and pop soccer leagues. When you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. I got to bring up one more point too, Big C, because I think you talk about it all the time. It's the Stafford effect with the Detroit Lions. And you look at where they are right now. They're 6-4 on the season. They just got a close win over the Bears, 27-24. And I look at what I'm finding in Stafford. He plays a lot from behind because they always get behind. But even with that, they're not a bad football team, offensively, but they're always falling behind because defensively they got to shore up their defense. Your thoughts on what kind of challenge they can present to the Minnesota Vikings, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, when I look at the Detroit Lions and Jim Caldwell, the head coach, he's done a job under the radar ever since he's been in the Motor City. It never gets any praise from the national press around the league as far as how far he's brought this team. They'll always talk about Matt Stafford, but they never give him any credibility, just like your kid in Pittsburgh.
Mike Tomlin.
He gets no credibility for being a consistent winner. And who had won in Detroit prior to Caldwell showing up?
Nobody.
They had more coaches than you had cars.
Yeah.
So,
I understand.
Situation, when you're looking at Caldwell and what he's done, establishing his program, they just don't have anybody on defense.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Matter of fact, they just went out and signed Dwight Freeney.
Yeah.
Who played under Caldwell in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Seattle let him go after the other night's game.
Yeah.
So this is how desperate you are for defensive players.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when your quarterback is making $24 million, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you don't have the money to sign premium players. Free agents are not going to go there.
Yep.
Ask Tom Brady, who's only making $14 million, and Matthew Stafford's making $24 million. So in New England, you're allowed to sign another 2, possibly 3 decent defensive players, Charlton.
Yeah.
And a decent salary out of $10 million that Brady said, I don't need, okay?
Yeah. And
Matthew Stafford is like, I want it all. I don't care what you put on defense. I'm playing from behind, and 80% of the games that I play in, I'm playing from behind.
I want half Eddie. That's what he do. I want half Eddie. Remember that good old girl from Coming to America? He was half the payroll that the Lions have to deal out. I do got to bring up a little bit of a romantic story that I think a lot of fathers could appreciate, probably more than the mothers, Big C. This good old boy of the great Northwest, Mike Leach, he was talking about somebody getting married, and I heard him saying about, does he want to get involved? He's like, yeah, I don't really care. Just tell me where to show up, and, whatever it is. And they were asking him, well, do you want to, contribute to the cake, the wedding cake? What kind of cake is going to, I don't care what kind of cake. Well, do you care what kind of, I don't care what kind of flowers. They said, okay, you just don't care. He said, okay, well, how about this color? Well, I thought you wanted the other color. Long story short, why are people spending so much money on marriages and instead of putting that money in an annuity? I just want to side with Mike Leach for a while, Big C. Your thoughts, we're probably both in trouble.
That's basically it. It's like that's quarterback.
Yeah.
Why do you put so much money into that one quarterback?
One person, yep.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
When you need a team, and when you got this quarterback, who's going to protect this quarterback? Ask the quarterbacks that play in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
When you got a quarterback with a $144 million contract, yet you don't even know who's on his offensive line, Charles. You got to have at least one guy on the offensive line that's a household name when your quarterback's making that much money.
Yep.
You can't overinvest. It's like going into a neighborhood, a middle-class neighborhood, buying 2 houses, knocking them down, and the average square footage in that neighborhood is 3,000 square feet.
Yep.
Yet you want to go in and build a 10,000 square foot home on these 2 lots.
Yeah, okay? Silicon Valley.
you think that your property is worth more than what it is.
Yeah.
But you got to look at the comps in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's going to run down the value of that 10,000 square foot house based on those 3,000 square foot houses.
Yep, that's good math.
Overinvest as far as where you are.
Yeah.
And Washington Redskins, ask how that investment's turning out. Indianapolis Colts, ask how that investment's turning out. The Baltimore Ravens, ask how that investment's turning out.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins, with your buddy down there. That investment, how it's turning out. So this is the same thing that Mike Leach was getting at.
Yeah.
When you talk about planning for a wedding.
Yep.
When we talk about sending out invitations.
Yep.
Well, all right, just send out the beige one. Well, I'm kind of partial to the blue. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
It's a piece of paper that everybody's going to throw away.
Yeah.
Just like with these quarterbacks, when you feel that you've made your run with them and you haven't gotten anything out of them, of all those quarterbacks in the NFL, Charlton, that have $100 million contracts, okay?
Yeah.
how many of them have won a Super Bowl?
That's a good point.
Question.
That's a good point.
$100 million quarterbacks, all the fans out there, you won't get this story from the networks on television or any other talk show on radio.
Right.
Of the $100 million quarterbacks, ask yourself, how many have won a Super Bowl? Then you go look at the quarterbacks who have less than $100 million quarterback.
Yep.
Contract.
Yep.
See how many Super Bowls they have won, Charles.
That's a very good point, Big C. So we know it all counts in love and war. It's all fair in love and war. I think we're going to work with Mike Leach on starting that romantic show. You know, they have all these dating programs out there, date.com and lonelycowboy.com and all that stuff.com. We're going to do a bigcdate.com and save all these fathers all that money on these weddings that only last about 5 years anyway, at least in California they do Big C, and put that money into an annuity. And speaking of an annuity, I want to touch on two more things on the college football level, and I want to finish with some NBA stuff. I look at the UCLA job. We just talked about how we previewed the Pac-12 conference, Big C, earlier this year out in California. UCLA never thought that Moore would be gone after graduating all of his players. UCLA has never really been the team that's going to win a national championship anyway. Those players go to USC. At least Southern Cal, their stadium is close to campus. If you go to UCLA, and all of the people driving in LA for the holidays, it can take about an hour and a half drive to get from Westwood to Pasadena, depending on traffic. It's not fair for the fans. It's not fair for the student body. But they act like this coach needs to be at Alabama or Texas or, even USC, Big C. Now, this Chip Kelly thing, everybody's saying, well, Chip Kelly's going to be a natural fit for the UCLA job. Well, will he really be a natural fit for the UCLA job? He coached at Oregon in a small market, and a lot of people came there for that, Big C. I think LA might be a little bit too big for his mentality, which is kind of an iron fist mentality. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you got to look at the players, Charlton, that he also had at Oregon.
Yeah.
70% of them came from the Los Angeles base in Charlton that he recruited.
Yep.
So, he has a lot of ties down there and tentacles out where he can go back and rekindle those relationships.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of high school coaches around that he had familiarity with, as well as junior college.
That's true.
Coaches.
That's true. Yep.
You look at the two scenarios that his name keeps coming up in: the University of Florida, the University of California, Los Angeles.
UCLA. Yep.
He is a better fit for UCLA, Charlton, because of that type of player.
Yeah.
That you recruit on the West Coast versus playing that speed game in the SEC where you're going to need smaller players, especially on the line side.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know if he could dominate, even though you probably have a better athletic base, down in the southeast, Charlton, with Georgia, with Florida, with Carolina.
Yeah.
Being able to pull out of that region. But he recruited nationally regardless, Charlton.
Yep.
But I think the fit for him, and overall, he really doesn't care. Think about it. He's still getting paid, all right, by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Even though he's not coaching?
He's still getting paid by the San Francisco 49ers, Charlton.
Well, do they know he's not coaching for them anymore, Big C? They paid the good old boy anyway?
He's still getting a dual pension from the NFL coaches that are fired. He's getting one from Philadelphia, he's getting one from San Francisco.
Wow.
So can Chip Kelly be picky about what he wants? Hell
yeah.
And his two coaching jobs that he got fired from, Charlton, he's making $15 million between the two.
Wow.
Okay? He's making $15 million between the two. He's making $300,000 just from being a fired NFL coach.
Wow.
So is Chip Kelly rushing to go somewhere?
No.
And people are overrating it right now. Is Chip Kelly really wanting the job?
Wow. Yeah.
Is Chip Kelly really wanting the job? He's sitting at home right now and also getting paid by ESPN, so he's getting $1.5 million from them.
Wow.
So here's a guy that's close to making $17 million.
Yeah.
Sitting around on the weekend doing a couple of TV shows.
Yeah.
You tell me all these naysayers out there, Chip Kelly's going here. This is a perfect fit.
Yeah.
The perfect fit for Kelly right now is trying to get his fat walls into his pocket.
Yeah. I understand. That makes more sense than I thought at first, Big C. I do want to ask you about another good old boy that's on the hot seat. We know a lot of coaches that have been winning. Kevin Sumlin, another coach down at Texas A&M. And Texas A&M is not going to win the SEC. It's not even that way for the officials to let a team from Texas come in there and win. That's for those more southern states. All you got to do is look at who's won national championships. And even the Southeastern Conference, a lot of that's Las Vegas and officiating. It has nothing to do with not being a good coach. I just want to ask you this thought. How does a guy that has a winning record, plays Alabama close, plays UCLA close, and Auburn blew out Georgia, but they played Georgia closer than, they played Auburn closer than Georgia. Why is he going to be losing his job for Texas A&M when he's done as well with that program as anybody they've had in a long time? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, R.C. Slocum is not coming through the window down at Texas A&M, okay?
Yeah.
He's not coming back, so I don't know why people think he's coming back. That scenario is not occurring. Sumlin cut his teeth at the University of Houston.
Yep.
When he took that program and brought it to prominence, Charlton.
Yep.
Now, he gets the job at A&M, and everybody said, well, you haven't won the SEC title. Well, he didn't ask to go into the SEC. A&M wanted to join that conference.
Yeah.
He went to a conference that he knew he could dominate.
Yep.
That's what he did.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you change conferences on him, Charlton. And
yeah.
He goes in where the talent that he was used to recruiting wasn't a fit for that conference, even though he's both well in that conference, Charlton, with a winning record.
Yeah.
But when you look at Auburn, they've been down in that conference. Georgia's been down in that conference.
Yep.
Mississippi stayed down for a long time prior to Hugh Freeze. Look at LSU. They got rid of Miles. Have they done any better? Tennessee, after winning a championship with T. Martin, the offensive coordinator who is now at USC,
yep.
What have they done since they got rid of Philip Fulmer? You got to be careful in the SEC what you ask for.
It's politics.
Prior to Nick Saban showing up,
yep.
How good was Alabama?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Very good point.
Down in Florida, Charlton, you've had two coaches that have won in Florida, okay?
Yeah.
One named Steve Spurrier, the other one named Urban Meyer.
Yep.
Other than that, they've had nothing. Galen Hall could never get it done down there in Florida, Charlton, in the 80s.
Yeah.
So you got to think about where you are in this era of college football. There's 4 teams that compete for the national championship each year, Charlton.
Yeah.
4 teams. Okay? You got to look at that conference. What, they got 16 teams in that conference?
Yeah.
So when you think about it, there's 4 teams that compete for the national championship. You play in a conference with 16 teams. Your chances of getting to the national championship playoff is 1 out of 16.
Yeah.
Even in your own conference.
Yeah, it's politics.
Not in the nation, just in your own conference. You got a 1 in 16 chance of winning your conference championship and making it to the playoff series. So when these good old boys want to get rid of Kevin Sumlin, okay, what happened in Texas when they got rid of Charlie Strong? How much better did Texas get, Charlie?
You mean they're not playing for the national championship or even the Big 12 this year?
They hired Tom Herman, okay?
Yeah.
And I want to know, are they in contention for the even conference championship?
No.
Will they
no.
be a 500 team?
Maybe.
That's the thing.
Maybe.
So, here it is. You're talking about getting rid of Sumlin because you're not happy with the progress of the program under him, even though they're playing better this year than what they played last year.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're going to get rid of him, and you're going to go out and hire who? Okay?
Yeah.
That's just like with Tennessee when they got rid of Butch Davis.
Yep.
You brought Butch Davis into a situation he couldn't have any success. Now you're talking about, let's go back and hire Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is fine now where he is. I mean, they can offer him a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, when you keep retreading coaches in college football, what you're getting is some what they say, one man trashes another man trashes.
Something like that. I got to tell my neighbor that. He keep digging through my trash for some reason. Think he's going to find that ring that Julio Jones lost, Big C.
So you got out there picking up somebody's trash off the sidewalk that they thrown out. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I can refurbish that.
Yeah. It's funny because that good old boy Scarface in the movie Scarface, Al Pacino, he said it's politics. That's why he liked having his money counted with his own machines. He didn't trust the banks because he knew some of the banks were crooked. I think people saw that too, the Wolf of Wall Street. But I do want to say that the winner of Alabama and Auburn has played in 7 of the last 9 national championships, and that means the politics of the South. They don't want them good old boys from the West coming in, even though Texas is considered Southwest. They don't want them good old boys coming down there and getting involved with their politics. Big C, they already know what schools they have to play in the SEC championship games. They've been doing it for a long time. I do want to finish with some more politics because we're still South. Them good old boys down in Oklahoma. You have Golden State coming in to play OKC, and they're still trying to make it Durant versus OKC and Durant versus Russell Westbrook. Really, Big C, it's about the players versus the players. And you have Carmelo Anthony and Paul George down there with Westbrook. There's not enough basketballs to give around. They're all dominant alpha males. How do you tell which alpha male who's going to eat more than the other, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, is Baker Mayfield Harrison was on the sideline.
Yeah.
What about that right off the bat? On the basketball players use a little rosin on their hands, so he can't get stuck.
Yeah. He look at the outlaw stick him. He would have been holding himself a long time, Big Z.
The media is playing this game, Charlton, and it's about, thinking about your old girlfriend, all right?
Yep.
That, she's moved on, and she's got a new relationship and got a couple kids, and that's what, Durant has in Golden State.
Yeah.
He's moved on.
Yeah.
He left now.
Yeah.
The thing that I look at, Charlton, is everybody forgets that James Harden was there, okay?
Yeah.
James Harden was there in OKC, and he was the first one to get out of that debacle.
Yep.
And he's gone on, and everybody see what type of superstar he is.
Yep.
Kevin Durant did the same thing that James Harden did after James Harden did. He went on and had success.
Yeah.
Although he won the championship, Harden did, has gotten to the playoffs. But Russell Westbrook is the only one that has stayed behind. But, this is the national media that has to build this up.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if Gordon Hayward had stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Would the national media have made him a rivalry against Utah? Just like, they made Kyrie Irving a rivalry against LeBron James?
Yeah.
It's only the African-American athletes who are bickering within the national media.
Yeah.
White athletes move between teams all the time. There's no animosity when a white player moves on within the media ranks, Charlton.
Yeah.
He went on to a better organization, to enhance his career.
Yeah.
With the African-American athletes, Charlton, we got to be fighting in the national media.
Yeah,
we don't hear from the athletes.
No.
But the national media has to build up this hype. Oh, they hate each other. Will they shake hands? Will they snarl at each other?
Yeah.
Hard at each other,
yeah. Will they fight? Yep.
I mean, last year they walk up, they hug. Oh, they're not going to shake hands.
Yeah.
Why is it such a big deal? When I'm a competitor, Charlton.
Yeah.
I'm a competitor.
Yeah.
I'm out there to take your life, okay?
Yeah.
Technically, as they say.
Yeah.
I'm out there to kill your will. I'm going to take your heart out.
Yeah.
That's what a competitor does. That's what African-American athletes do.
Yeah.
They're out there trying to kill your will. I remember we had a linebacker. His motto was like, kill the head, the body will die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what that meant was taking away somebody's will.
Well, wasn't that good old boy Conor McGregor learned that too? He brought that same swagger from Ireland. And when Conor McGregor used it, they say, "Oh my God, he's gonna beat Floyd Money Mayweather. He's talking so much stuff. He said he's gonna take him apart in the ring." And a lot of people saw he couldn't even get his hands up in the 10th round. But that's just part of what athletes do. And those guys appreciate each other because they made so much money, and that's what most athletes really care about. Big C, I want to touch on this winning streak also with the Boston Celtics. The only thing missing is Johnny Boston. The Celtics are trying to get to 17 in a row. So with the Celtics playing Miami. Sometimes when you go down to Scarface territory and I let people read between the lines of Scarface territory in Miami, but that's a team that has the ability to end the streak, and obviously somebody's going to end it at some point in time. But your thoughts on the Celtics playing Miami? They've been squeaking by, but they've been getting it done. Your thoughts on the Celtics trying to get to number 17 in a row, Big C? Your thoughts?
They've trailed in 18 of these victories that they've had. In 8 of these victories, they've trailed.
Yeah.
Double-digit trailing coming in, Charlton. What the Miami Heat have is Whiteside, their own Whiteside in the middle. This is the first time that they're facing a true big man in this streak that they've been having. Yeah. But one of the things you have to look at, Charlton, is that they've been on a 16-game run, okay, so far this season. Yeah. But in that, Charlton, half of those games they've had to come from behind. You got to look at the NBA really doesn't get interesting until after Christmas, okay? Yeah. Really, everybody thinks that's the kickoff of the NBA season. Yeah. How much energy are the Celtics expending in these early games, Charlton, having to come from behind so quickly? Yeah. And, they've basically been injury-free, other than the Hayward injury, the first game of the season. Yeah. What happens when they lose a critical player, or they go through a stretch, Charlton, when they can't come from behind? In those 8 games that they came from behind, Charlton, they should have lost those. Yeah. So what happens if they go on that 8-game losing streak? What will people say about themselves at that point? Charlton, they are going to go on a losing streak this year. Yeah. And they're going to lose at least 5 or 6 consecutive games. Trust me. Yeah. Because as an athlete, and I don't care who you are, you're on an emotional high. Yeah. But you get to a draining point. You're on a weak part of the schedule right now, but you're going to get to a draining point. Yep. Because you've expended so much energy in this 16-game winning streak, Charlton, is that it's going to get on your back, and you're going to be like, wow, what do we do now? Yeah.
That's a good point, Big Z. I want to ask you one more thing before we close. Are you a ham or turkey man? You like dark meat or the white meat? Or do you like the gravy that's homemade, or do you like the gravy you buy from the store? I know a lot of good old boys down south, they make their own dressing. What's more popular for you good old boys down south, Big C?
Well, let me just get into this equation, Charlie, because depending on where you are, because I know out there on the West Coast, you guys like stuffing.
Yeah.
Back here, we like dressing. Okay?
Yeah.
We call it dressing.
Yeah.
And we like mashed potatoes. You guys probably eat our fried potatoes like that, being all bougie and all that.
Yeah.
You know.
California love.
I'm a dark meat and ham guy. Okay, that's what I'm just a little guy.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, when we get back, you know, I want me some dinner rolls.
Yeah.
Some cornbread. You know, let's be real.
Yeah.
Macaroni and cheese, I haven't figured that out yet doing with Thanksgiving. All right?
Yeah.
You know, we want some giblet gravy, real gravy. You want to make that roux up on the stove.
Oh, yeah.
That really brown, you take the drippings off that turkey and put it in. Add a little canned milk. You don't know about the canned milk.
No, I don't know what canned milk is.
That helps smooth it out with the big chocolate.
Yes.
You get that creamy texture to it, drop some butter in there, a lot of butter. You know, we're not worried about the calories.
And nobody worried about the health effect, right?
Ain't nobody worried about that. We might find some green vegetables floating around and all that stuff we got on.
Yeah.
So when it comes to very little green vegetables at the time. But you know you got to wash that down, you know, so we use some southern iced tea.
Little moonshine and iced tea, I understand.
We warmed up with a little moonshine on these cold days back down here, but you know, we gonna eat our share.
Yes.
Our fair share and the neighbor share. We gonna eat his also.
That's funny. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bondini Brown. He was Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charleston, what I'm looking forward to is the game tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day. It doesn't have the luster that it once had back in the 70s and early 80s when you only had these two games on Thursday. I wish the NFL would rethink their thoughts about the Thursday night games throughout the season. Go back to when the games meant something. Because think about it, when you only have one Thursday game through the season, well, actually two on Thanksgiving Day, how meaningful that was that the family could get together and rivalry back and forth, Charleston. But I hope that tomorrow will be a day that people talk about sports and we won't hear from Trump. Yeah,
that's a good point, Big C. I think he's hoping the same thing. You can always find out what's going on in the world of sports every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no woman should have to go through that garbage all on her own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.